Hello and welcome to Elseworlds, the DC fan podcast. My name is Jordan, and with me, as always, is Chris. How was your holiday, Chris?
It's pretty good. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because you get an extra day of football and you eat a lot of food. And this year, it was just me
Two
and
extra
mom.
days of football this year because you
Yeah,
get Black
well,
Friday now.
that Dolphins Jets game was not worth it. We got great steaks instead of turkey, and I made mini blueberry pies. Yeah, I cooked the steaks just right in between rare and medium rare. I like mine a little more rare than Bruce Wayne in Kingdom Come. Um, but no, mini blueberry pies. Had some stuffing. It's nice. It was quaint. It was easy. It was just a fun day. Did some day drinking. And then just got a buzz on, nothing too much, and then watch some football. It was a good day. How about you, man?
So late Wednesday, I decided, let's replay some video games. I actually popped in Kingdom Hearts 1 and started replaying that, trying to get some achievements on the PS5 and um, almost done it now, a week later here. So that's pretty much what I did the whole holiday, except for the actual day itself, which I did wake up and play, and then I played some late that evening. But for the actual holiday, we had two places we had to stop at, so we saw family. I had some apple pie. If people want to hear about our apple pie takes, listen to the
Yeah,
Marvels recap.
yeah,
And yeah, so it was a good day. It was a good day.
that's
And
nice.
and then
I'm
we
glad.
spent the rest of the weekend like cleaning and stuff like that.
Well, that's how that goes. That's how that goes, especially the older you get. And you're married, so you got like the husband duties. So yeah.
That is right. But yeah, so we are here to talk a lot of news that happened since we
Hmm.
kind of went to a bi-weekly schedule for the foreseeable future at this moment, since especially the holidays are upon us. And of course, right after we were done, a lot of news broke, especially more Superman Legacy news. So they have found their Lex Luthor, they have found their Jimmy Olsen, and they have found their Mish Tashmacher. Um, so let's dive into it. So I think the first one to break on this was the Nicholas Holt
Hmm. That's the
news.
big one.
Yes. Now this one has not been confirmed by James Gunn yet, like the others were, but it sounds like from what James said, the people that were cast, like the engineer, Jimmy Olsen and Tashmacher, were all cast pre-strikes, and they had to kind of keep mum about it during the strikes, and then they were finally able to reveal it after the strike. So I assume Nicholas Holt's deal maybe started, like, he got cast maybe a little later. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think he was the guy they were going to go with the whole time, but I think they played around with options.
yeah, probably
Um,
just couldn't
I
seal the deal at
I
until after the strikes.
I heard a rumor on, I think it was the Vigilante 1939 podcast. They were saying that there was a rumor that Bradley Cooper turned it down, or
Yeah, I'd
didn't
heard
want
that
it.
too. Yeah.
I don't know how true that is though. Like, I mean, I'm not like a beat reporter, so I don't like know what the deal is with that. But I think Nicholas Holt's fine. I'm excited about it. I'm a little worried about it because I don't know. I haven't seen him in that much. I need to watch the menu. He's fine as Beast in the X-Men movies, I guess. So, we'll see. I can see him looking the part, shaving the head, and yeah, I can totally see that.
I think he'll be great. I know that, like, I listened to the same episode that you did for the Vigilante 1939. Um, I I know they were trying to equate it to the Jesse Eisenberg. I don't see them as similar at all. Because I don't know. I think Eisenberg's a good actor when he's given something in his range, but I don't think Lex was ever in his range. And they kind of really leaned into a weird version of Lex, playing a kooky, eccentric Lex.
Hmm.
Um,
I think they'll go more sinister and less bubblegummy. I wasn't quite as worried about that either. But it is similar age range, and he has played less.
Lex has been young in the past, though. Like my favorite
Mhm.
Lex is obviously Smallville's Lex, Michael Rosenbaum, and you know he was a contemporary with
Mhm.
Superman, and I think that works better because I don't want like a Gene Hackman. Look, we revisited '78 earlier this year, right?
Yeah, we
And
did.
Gene Hackman, I thought he was okay as Lex, but he doesn't really work on what our modern idea of
Oh, it's my
Lex
least
is.
favorite part of the movie. I mean, I loved all
Yeah,
the Superman stuff in that movie, and I pretty much hated all the Lex stuff in that movie. So, you know, if you go with a classic Lex Luthor in terms of the comics, or maybe even kind of akin to Rosenbaum's performance, I think you're going to get a really good thing. I mean, one thing to note is James Gunn and Rosenbaum are buddies, so like he probably has some ideas to go more in the line of that
well, yeah,
Luthor
he
than
said remember on
yeah,
Rosenbaum's podcast, he said he liked his version of Lex the most,
yeah. I was just about to bring
and
that up. Yeah,
he kept kind of putting down. People took it as him putting down Eisenberg, but he was kind of saying he doesn't like Hackman's. But Eisenberg and Hackman's are almost the same when we're talking about eccentric
yeah.
kookiness. Um,
One has jelly beans, one doesn't.
yeah, like
You
one has a
know,
jar of piss, right? So you have you know,
Granny's peach tea.
yeah, Granny's peach tea. But so I think if people are worried about Nicholas Holt, I think he's going to play a more traditional Lex Luthor, and I think that's great. I trust James Gunn when it comes to casting. If you look at
Hmm.
his cast for Guardians and
Yeah,
stuff like that, so for me, I think it's great. I only really know him as Beast. I don't really know him as anything else. I don't think I really watched too much
I
Nicholas
gotta
Holt.
watch the menu. I gotta watch. I gotta watch. I'm just gonna go through his filmography and see if I can see the Lex in there. You know, I actually just watched two X-Men movies this weekend slash week.
Yeah,
So, getting ready for a mutant draft and brushing up on it because it's like a second language for you guys, and I'm like, I'm there, but so it's I liked him in those movies, but I didn't see any Lex in there. Not that you should see any Lex with
yeah, you
that.
shouldn't in
Like
Hank
it would
McCoy at
actually
all.
be, yeah, it would actually be bad acting if you saw. You know what? That guy would be a great Lex Luthor. So I got to see him in something sinister. And I hear the menu is where it's at. I know a lot of people love this casting. He's been the runner-up for Batman and Superman, so he had to be in there somewhere. If you're a runner-up for those kind of roles, you have the chops. Like you do. He has what it takes to be a good Lex Luthor. He looks great in a suit. Looks great bald. I think it could work. I mean, I kind of, like the idea of going with the redhead Lex, but there's a lot of things you can do with Lex, and I really like that we've got so many different interpretations of him now with Superman and Lois, Rosenbaum, and now this will be different too. I mean, let's forget Kevin Spacey and Gene Hackman and just move on.
Right, right.
Did you ever see the Lois and Clark Lex Luthor? Did you ever
Uh,
watch that show?
I watched it as a kid. I can't recall it off the top of my head though.
I thought he was a really good Lex Luthor.
I
I
think I've
thought
heard good things about him, but
no, I
I
think
don't remember.
I think he's the underrated Lex Luthor. I think he's a little under the radar. But I really like that there's a really great scene where he's testing Superman's limits and Superman's getting really annoyed at him because he keeps stopping the bullet and catching the people, and he's just like, this has to end. Like, it's a great episode. I love that Lex Luthor. I try to enjoy my reverence for that show despite not really liking Dean Cain, but
Yeah, I know some people have problems with that. I mean, for me, it's always just a I'm usually trying to watch and ignore the actor about
Yeah.
most of these things because let's be honest, a lot of these people have scandals that have either haven't
Mhm.
broken out or they will. Like I
Yeah.
was able to enjoy Loki with all that's going on with Jonathan Majors right now because it's
Oh
just
yeah. It
you know
you
you got to put that
detaches from
stuff
your
aside.
brain.
Yeah,
One of the things that annoys me about my dad is like if I watch a movie with him, he'll be like, "Oh, that's that actor. Oh, do you know who that is?" Yeah, I'm trying to not think of them as the actor, so I get that completely. Like it takes me out of the film every time he
that's
does
funny
that.
though. I do that though.
Yeah,
I
well,
will lean to my wife and be like, you know who that is, and she'll be like, no. I'm like, he's in one episode of Arrested Development.
well, if your wife, if she likes that, if she
She
likes
doesn't.
that,
No.
no, then see, then it's a problem. We've just found Jordan's red flag when it comes to movies. Red flag behavior there. If she likes it, it's all good.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay,
she's a
let's.
good wife. She puts up with you. I get
She
it. I
does.
get
Yeah,
it.
she puts up with all of that. All right, let's
Just trying to watch
talk
a movie.
Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, this casting was perfect.
Skylar
Absolutely
DeSondo.
perfect.
You know, I had heard this name right before the strikes, I think, or is
Hmm.
right after the strikes. They were like, "Hey, this guy's close to being cast." They just couldn't announce it, and I know him in like one thing, and it's he is the replacement Little Sean in Psych.
Yeah, I know him from that as well.
Um,
I also know him from Santa Clarita Diet.
okay, I never watched it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, even as like I don't know, I see his face and I'm like, that's Jimmy Olsen, man. Like
Yeah, he's got that nervous energy.
he's got reddish hair too. I mean, it's got like a auburn. It's like a reddish brown.
He's got this awkward confidence, which is kind of Jimmy Olsen. Like it's
Yeah,
not like he's got swag, but like he's got a quality about him. Got that it factor to him. I think he's gonna be fun. I would love to see him be the little groupie with Lois and Clark in this Superman Legacy. And I'm getting a lot annoyed with the comparisons between the BVS Jimmy and this Jimmy because the BVS Jimmy was Jimmy in name only, and he got shot right away. So why are we even having this discussion? But
well, it really just shows who was in charge of
like,
BVS and their no reverence for characters at times.
well, yeah. And the thing is, like, not to go off on a tangent, but like, did everybody have to be this buff-looking manly man? Like Jimmy Olsen is this badass photographer in the no. Jimmy Olsen was so out of place in that movie, so out of sync. I hated it. They shoot him, and I'm like, you're not shooting Jimmy Olsen in the second movie. Like, come on.
Well, then
But
they try to excuse it, right? They try to excuse it by saying, "Well, that was his alias. He's not really Jimmy
because
Olsen
Jimmy
because
Olsen
he's
is a
an
CIA
FBI or whatever."
operative.
Yeah, whatever.
Give me a break. I hated it. This is the exact route that you need to go with Jimmy Olsen. I love it. It's gonna, when we talked about My Adventures with Superman. Jimmy Olsen was one of the best parts of that
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Give me that nerdy, fun energy any day of the week. Especially because we're nerds. We're probably going to see ourselves in Jimmy kind of
And
gawking
we,
out
yeah, we should.
at Superman and trying to fit into this big world of the Daily Planet. That's what Jimmy Olsen is as a character, and he's Superman's friend. He's Clark's friend. That means something. So, dude, I'm jacked for this. This is the best casting of the whole thing. I mean, it's not a role that you need to nail down like perfect. I feel like it's not going to be the biggest chunk of the movie, but yeah, you get a good Jimmy. Superman fan of me is happy.
What about? Do we think he is going to know Clark's secret already at the start of the movie, or do you think he's going to just
See, I would
be?
love it if he did. I would love it if he did, but I don't think we're gonna do that.
Yeah, because it was interesting when we talked about My Adventures with Superman. Like, we think he doesn't know, right? But once Clark tells him,
Uh-huh.
he's like, "Dude, I've known." Because they were in My Adventures with Superman. If people didn't watch
Hmm.
it or listen to our episode, he is like high college roommates with him. They both start at the Daily Planet as interns, and he's like, dude, you've like broken every doorknob and stuff ever. Like, of course I know you're Superman. So I just thought that was a cool aspect. I'm not sure if I want to see it in this because I can see it in that. So like,
Right. No,
I
I
am
think
one
it.
that like doesn't need it to be the same in everything.
Right.
So hopefully this brings a cool, unique aspect of the relationship too.
I think it would be something cool to build towards, but I don't think Jimmy needs to know who Superman is for it to work, especially because Jimmy is kind of like Superman is cool because like he's this big superhero and he's just having lunch with Jimmy. Like that's a cool thing. So I don't think like I think Jimmy Olsen humanizes Clark and that's one of the things that Snyder didn't like to do with Clark because he didn't like Clark. I'm trying not to get into a tangent. But Batman versus Superman kind of gets us there a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation because I have that Batman versus Superman keychain, and
Right.
I got a conversation with a guy. This is the keychain for the people on the video. The Ben Affleck Batman logo,
Mm-hmm.
and the Dark Knight Returns kind of vibe. And he's like, "Oh, I hated that movie," blah blah. And he's just saying all the generic things. And like I find myself in a conversation like that defending it because he's saying all the things you've heard for the last forever year. Like it's just stockpile answer. And then he's like, well, you watched any Marvel? It's like Loki was great. He goes, I guess it was good. But that's in comparison, but it's not a high bar. And then it's like, did you watch the Marvels? He's like, I ain't seen that. That was a bomb. Like, dude, just like, do you get all of your answers from Twitter? Like so
Some people, yes.
we can go off on tangents, but it's amazing when you're like, I've heard this 1,000 times. Say something interesting. But yeah.
Okay, and then they added Sarah Sampaio as Eve Teschmacher. She is a model turned actress or a model slash actress.
Yeah. I have no thoughts one way or the other about this. Like I
Yeah, I
haven't
don't know
seen
her
her or
from anything.
anything.
No.
She's a model. Hopefully she's good.
Interesting though to bring
Small role,
Teschmacher
I would think.
because not a comic book character. She's from '78, and then she also appeared in Supergirl, the
Uh-huh.
series. So I always
I
find
just
it
need
fun when they bring some of these random characters back.
I just need Lex. I just need Nicholas Salt to go, Miss Tessmacher! And I'm good. That's all I need. And that's all I get from Tessmacher in this movie. I'm fine.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of role she's gonna play.
Like, it's interesting to me because, like, with the scope of this movie, I'd almost be more expecting a Mercy Graves than a Miss Tessmacher. So
Maybe we get both at some point.
that would be nuts. There's no Otis yet, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I really like the just classic Superman characters though. Like it's feels Superman. This movie can't feel Superman enough. Like the goal of this movie is to exude complete Supermanness.
Yeah. I totally forgot, by the way, that Skylar Gisondo did play Gwen Stacy's brother in the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
You know what? I just watched that recently and it didn't register with me. So yeah.
So James Gunn also shot down the rumor of General Sam Lane being played by Michael Rooker.
Yeah, it's gonna be Perry Wright, right?
I don't know.
Rooker's gonna be in there somewhere. He's gonna be in there somewhere.
I could see him as like a bit role. I don't know if he's gonna get one of the those
Yeah.
type of roles.
So you're saying like a taxi driver in Metropolis?
Or like somebody in like the Daily Planet bullpen or something, or a cop or something. Like I
He
don't
could be
think
the sports reporter guy.
Yeah, I just don't think he's gonna be, and he might have. I don't think he's gonna have as big of a role like Perry White or anything like that. I, I can't really see him as Perry White, honestly. So we'll see.
Who do you want as Perry White?
I don't have a name. I
Yeah,
kind of like what Fishburne did. Honestly, I've liked what
yeah,
Michael McKean did in Smallville. Like, I think Perry is a character that can be done well by so many people. I just don't know
yeah.
if I could hear like Rooker's voice as Lane. I mean, as Lane
Yeah,
or Perry White.
Lane, yeah, he would be. I think Lane would make sense for him though. Like
Yeah,
General
that'd be a
Lane would
much more. Yeah.
that Are you kidding me, Sergeant? Like I can just see it, but when I think Perry White, I really don't think you can top Fishburne. I just think he is such a good actor, and we talk about those movies not giving us enough like emotion, but Lawrence Fishburne was like really, really. He just has that gravitas, and he had some kindness to him. I don't know. I liked him. A bit of a smart ass Perry White. I was about it. I liked it a lot. I want somebody kind of in that vein. I think it's a great character to keep as a diversity casting. I don't, think you need the standard fat white guy in there, but you know, surprise me, James Gunn. I'm sure it'll work. I'm interested to see how big the Daily Planet is in this movie because there's so much Superman in this movie, so much the Authority and Superman, and people keep saying it's a huge cast, and I'm like, yeah, well, it's like a 2 hour 20-minute movie. If you look at the cast of superhero movies, they're never small. Like, when's the last time you saw a small cast for a superhero movie?
Yeah. I mean, I can't. uh, they're usually large, like you said, and
Hmm.
I think we've both kind of agree that we trust James enough when he says it's going to focus on Superman and Lois. That's going to focus on Superman and Lois, and the other rumor is that Lex is almost like a third lead in that situation, and that's perfect. That's what I would want. I think
Yep.
people keep getting confused because of the order of casting announcements. The first cast we got was Superman and Lois. Next
Hmm.
was Green Lantern, Hawkman, or was it Hawkman or Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific, right? So,
Hmm.
and people started being like, "Whoa, where's the Superman characters in Superman?" I didn't hear them at once take that back when we started getting Jimmy Olsen and
Yeah.
Eve Toshmacher and Lex Luthor and
Yeah, because we were just saying it was such a Superman kind of a feel to this movie. Uh, yeah, that's a good point. They didn't take it back. People like to have their narratives with this movie. People have made up their mind about a lot of this. You know, really, I think the Snyder stuff is going to start to quell down. It's going to start to be minimal as we get closer and closer. Their stuff is over. Once Aquaman has its last gasps, it's kind of over, and we can just start over. And I think we're gonna feel like we can actually debate just between ourselves as DC fans. I think they're gonna get over it to a degree. What are you fighting for at that point? Once it starts, what are you fighting for? You can't get it back.
right.
And so I think that'll be less. And I'm being a little bit optimistic here because I'd like to think the internet, has some redeeming qualities. But I'd like the conversation to just go more to the positive and more DC fans to just be DC fans. I think
Hmm.
the schism is going to start to fade when we get excited for our new universe.
I hope it will. I mean, if anything, today's Hollywood Reporter Zack Snyder feature should start setting it that way, right? I mean, he openly here says he talked to James, which James said months ago, and
Hmm.
everybody kept thinking James was lying for whatever reason. But
Hmm.
Snyder said he called James, said, "Hey, good luck. I want it to work." Um, and then said if he ever goes back, the only thing he'd want to do is work on a full adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns. Which
Which,
means
as in
hopefully,
Elseworlds, I would love to see an Elseworlds Dark Knight Returns with Zack Snyder. I would die for it. And I would die for it because I know that's the only Batman comic he's ever read. It's obvious.
yeah. Well, for me, I hope this helps. Because everybody, even just a few weeks ago, were posting like, "We need to get him to finish his vision." He just pretty much said, "That's done. This is all I would want to do."
So he had a
So
5-movie plan.
yeah,
It wasn't a universe. We need to stop the idea that he wanted to build a universe. He wanted to do a 5-movie plan, and then the Flash was going to reset everything. That was the plan from the beginning of it. And then we had all of the drama that happened. He was never building a universe. He had no interest in that. We need to stop acting like he's pining to get DC back. He really wasn't even in charge of DC. He was in charge of his story until he left.
yeah. So hopefully that puts the nail in the coffin of everybody asking for him to Netflix buy Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2 and 3, because it sounds
Because
like
they're
he's
going to have
definitely,
competing Justice Leagues. That's exactly what they're
yeah.
going to do.
Yeah, in the era where everybody is not showing up to big budget movies, that's what they're going to do.
And
So,
Netflix
yeah.
is the only profitable streamer right now.
They're not really profitable either yet.
Streaming is such a scam for these companies. Like, they put so much into it. It's kind of like this money pit that they have to invest in, but they don't want to. It doesn't make sense to me. We talk about the theater dying. I wonder when streaming dies. I mean, I don't think it is, but like
Streaming
it
won't die in the
it
sense
has to
of
change.
it won't die in like a way that you would normally say it's dying. It's what it would be is kind of what we're seeing now, where maybe some streamers fail and have to start selling their stuff again, like Max, who's putting a lot of their stuff on Netflix as well.
So I just saw an article today. I didn't even open it because I just shook my head. 10 DC movies leaving Max.
Are they leaving
What?
Max
Yeah,
or?
leaving Max. They're
I
going to
thought they were just
other.
going to put them on both.
Well, look. It's probably a clickbait. I didn't even click on it, but I just saw the headline: 10 DC movies leaving Max, and I'm like, you know,
Wouldn't shock me.
and what a way to alienate DC fans from your service. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be your big breadwinner, and you don't treat it very nicely. Like, imagine, it's stupid to me. Imagine if like Disney's like, all right, guys, who wants the Disney princesses? Who wants Belle?
Right.
Anybody want Netflix can have Belle. I'm like, what? Cinderella? Who wants Cinderella?
Mm-hmm.
It drives me up a wall. I'm a little annoyed with Max. Like, just the branding of Warner Brothers. It's just so horrible. Just such a backwards company. I just have no faith. That's why DC Studios is so important to me, because Zaslav scares the daylights out of me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Superman works out and everything gets going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Some other news. This leaked back in October, but the new bat suit from the Batman is available free in the Arkham trilogy on Nintendo Switch first, and it's
Mm-hmm.
arriving on other platforms at a later date.
So cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
Really
what
cool.
you do is you mute the television and you put on the Michael Giacchino score, and you play that over Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, and dude, that's it, man. Arkham Knight, dude, just play Michael Giacchino over the video game. I'm telling you, that's what you do. Bum, 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 bum. Yes, I'm all about it.
Good. Good. I really want to. This is what's going to make me probably bust out the game again. But
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I just played Arkham City through on the Return to Arkham on Xbox One, and I loved it. I had so much
Mhm.
fun. I found myself in the challenge maps more than I found like the fighting ones, like it just
yeah, I
racking
don't
up the
really
highest
do
scores.
those.
Oh, I was like I got to the point where I was becoming obsessed with racking up the highest scores. I had a combo. Shit you not. I had a combo of over 250. I was like, I cannot stop hitting people. This is insane. Like I didn't get hit once. Like I was just like, this is what I do. My go-to is the cape stun, and then I just beat up people, and I just you're done, you're done, you're done. So it's a lot of you just counter when people come up. It's fun stuff. But yeah, can't wait. That sounds fun.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Um, and then there's like this leaked poster of Falia do from like the Brazil CCXP event. Apparently, it was found on HBO Max's website, which I guess it's still called that somewhere over there. But it's just a lot of ha ha's and a mouth and something in Portuguese. So I mean, not not much there. Don't know if it's probably not going to actually get used. It's probably just for
Right.
the for the event. And then also Dave Batista was taking a picture in front of James Gunn's parking spot at DC Studios. So that led people to think he's having a meeting.
Could
Um,
just be having lunch with a buddy, but
yeah, could be. But the way it was taken and then James responded
yeah.
to, it is interesting that maybe there's something there.
I don't think it's Bane because Batman Brave and the Bold is a long way off, and Gunn said you're not going to get any castings without a script.
Also,
So
I don't think he wants to play those type of characters anymore,
yeah,
like a
I,
Bane and a
yeah.
Drax. I think he's going to want to play something a little bit more meaty.
And a lot of people keep putting Hugo Strange up for him, but
I can see
again,
it. If you put the glasses on him, I can see that.
I can see it. But again, I don't think it's going to be a Batman role. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if he could be in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow as the guy who kills Ruthie's father. That's just something I'd be thinking about, you know, uh, you know, because the bad guy in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I could see it. I could see it. I don't know that that'll be it. Um, let's see. I can't think of anything else though. Uh, maybe something for lanterns. I could see him.
Supergirl, right? The script's done,
Yeah,
maybe.
I
From
just
what
don't know
we
what has
heard.
a script right now.
He's also writing Peacemaker season 2. He said so. I mean,
Okay,
to try to get him attached to Peacemaker season 2 or Waller. I think those scripts are
yeah,
done,
Waller
right?
would
Like
be
it could
good.
be
Yeah,
something like that.
I could see that. Yeah, I think most people see him and go Bane and Hugo Strange, and I just telling you that's not what it is.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that's not what it is too.
I think a lot of these guys like he's gonna use all his friends too soon. Like it's gonna be like, oh, I still think Karen Gillan would be an incredible Poison Ivy. Let's see. I'm trying to think of James Gunn's buddies. Palm Clementeeth has to be something.
Yeah, yeah, I think she was talking about it too.
I know she probably wants to play a villain, but I could see her playing Leslie Tompkins.
Hmm.
I could see her playing Leslie Tompkins. The shrink to the bat. I could
Yeah,
see that.
that'd be interesting.
Let's see. 'Cause she's got that like with the Manta stuff. She's got that like motherly like thing, but she's also been a badass before. So like in Mission
Yeah, she was just in
Impossible,
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
she was such a badass in that movie. Like she just stole the screen. Like it was great. I thought she was fantastic in that. I think she's got a wide range. She could do pretty much anything in the DCU. I don't think anything's off limits for her. Let's see. You know, Chris Pratt's probably going to be in there somewhere. Booster.
I don't know if he'd be Booster.
He's getting a little old for Booster.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. I would just say that's just very
Fan casty.
yeah, it's very fan casty. It's exactly what it's pretty much just trying to take what he did at Guardians.
Will and yeah.
It's the same thing
So
people are doing with Batista, right? Being like,
right.
"Oh, Bane because he was Drax." It's like that's not how it works, really.
Do you want the fan cast that's I'm done with? The one that I'm just done with?
Yeah, which one?
Jensen Ackles as Batman.
Yeah,
So we just
I
had
never
the
really understood it either. I
like,
guess because he did it in the what, in a cartoon or something?
yeah, but so yeah, but see, here's the thing. You just got the Madam Web trailer and it got dragged for looking like a CW project. And now you want like a CW actor to be Batman. I like raise the standard for Batman. And that's not even to say Jensen Ackles isn't a good actor. It's just like it's so boring. It's the dumbest, most lazy pick you could make. Like it's just ridiculous. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like some of these fan cast people get themselves like bought into them, and then there's like
Mhm.
no getting away from it. Like the Krasinski Fantastic Four one, where people are still kind of like, why isn't he Mr. Fantastic? And it sounds like from everything that we've heard from leakers and stuff, he didn't want to be a part of it. He did it for that one day because that wasn't a lot of work
Mhm.
compared to, he wants to be directing and stuff. But, people will always kind of throw that at the feet of Marvel, like, oh, you had a perfectly good actor and didn't use him again. It's like, but one, I didn't really like him as Reed, but two, it's like, uh, it takes two to tango, right? Maybe he doesn't want to do
Yep.
it, and it sounds like he
Yeah.
doesn't want to do it. The Jensen Ackles thing, I just feel like people just get like so bought into their own ideas. That's like been a popular fan cast for like 10 years, and people can't let it go.
We've got a while before we get a Batman casting. So, like, I think the landscape could change by the time we get a Batman casting. Like, somebody could come up as the popular fan cast from now until then. But the Jensen Ackles thing, it's just like every time I open Twitter, it's like, guys, it's not going to happen. It's dumb.
Nobody had Pattinson.
Yeah, and you know what? Nobody had
Nobody
Michael
had
Keaton.
Bale. Nobody had Keaton. Nobody
You know,
had uh
Heath Ledger's
Clooney,
Joker.
right? I mean,
Like I'm convinced that if you like a Batman casting at first, it's gonna suck. Because when Pattinson was, I hadn't seen Pattinson in anything, but I knew he was the guy from Twilight.
I
So I was
see.
very
I will.
nervous.
I will. I will dispel that right now because when that came out, when the
Uh-huh.
Pattinson news came out, and I hadn't seen him in much, right, except
Right.
for Harry Potter. I was texting my friends and people that were making jokes about it, and I said he's gonna nail this.
Okay, good for you.
I was like, I can see
But
him as this role.
look, Ben Affleck got casted. I said, you know what? He looks like Bruce Wayne, but can he be Batman? Yeah, he can be Batman.
Hmm.
Ben Affleck, I think is the most underappreciated Batman we've gotten. And
I
I
think
think
it
we know
depends on what
why.
you mean by underappreciate it now, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's so many people that say he's the best now that I feel like I have to evaluate
His
on that.
movies did not do his Batman justice.
Hmm. Oh no,
I
I would agree with that. I like him
I
as Batman, but I'm
I
not
would
huge on the movies.
like when we did our build our Batman show. I
Hmm.
mean, I was like, I kind of want him or Pattinson. Like Ben Affleck is the perfect Batman to me. Like I just the way he looks, the physicality, the just that is a daunting Batman to fight. So yeah, love me some Ben Affleck Batman.
I think that's mostly it for the news.
Did we talk about the Crisis on Infinite
We
Earths
did not.
trailer?
Yeah, let's talk about that then. There was a trailer for the
Mhm.
new animated Crisis on Infinite Earths that's dropping its first part of three this January on Blu-ray, and then I guess eventually later to
The
Max.
three-parter is different. They've been doing those two-parters. The three-parter,
Yeah,
that's
this is a big one. You got to do
mhm,
three, I think. Takes so much to set up. I feel like
you
this
know,
first one's all set up from the trailer.
yeah, it looked that way. And uh I liked the trailer. It got me excited. It was, you know, my only fear with this is like I feel like this story's been fleshed out so many times. We just saw it on the CW on the Arrowverse. So, let's see what their spin on it was. You got that like kind of foreshadowing thing of Barry at the end running and like oh God. So
Run,
so we'll
Barry,
see.
run.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. See how faithful of an adaptation is. It gives me time to go back to the comic book. I want to get through the comic book. It's a thick trade.
I haven't read it. So maybe we should do that before
Mhm.
January and talk about it
Yeah,
before the
I
movie
would
comes
love
out.
to because I started it and I just got overwhelmed. Like I started it when I first got into comics. And I got really overwhelmed by how many characters there were
Yeah,
in it, and it
that's
was
kind of what
just
kept me away. Like I remember opening for that like Infinity Gauntlet, I think it
mhm,
was, right? Where I open up the first page and it's a bunch of characters I don't know, or like when I was a kid or like younger, getting into
mhm.
comics and stuff, and I'm like, I can't follow this right now. So I kind of, gave up on it a bit, and I want to go back and like actually finish this now and read it,
Yeah,
because I think part of it was like I jumped into it and like, oh, I should probably read like the build up to it instead. And then you read how much of a build up it is, and then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't read this at all right now.
yeah. So the thing with Crisis is we kind of know the story beats. So it's
Yeah.
just like we've seen adaptation, so it's just really reading it, like the actual thing and like getting an appreciation for the source material. So that's something we definitely should do. I agree.
But it looks all right. I think the trailer animation looks a little rough though. It's a very like
It's basic.
it's very basic animation,
Yeah, it's
and
very
I'm a little
basic.
worried about that.
But like I feel like you can't win with animation now unless you're gonna be like Spider-Verse and have this unique look. Like a
No,
lot of
I
people
think you
say,
can. I
like
look at
My Adventures with Superman, there was like half the audience that I can't stand the style. Very little Batman, I can't stand the style.
yeah, but the style's different than what I'm talking about. Like at least those shows have style and the animation's good.
This
Like
is
this is
just
very like almost like
bland.
motion comic almost.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I know it probably had a good enough budget because it's getting three parts and stuff, but the animation looks a little flat. It looks a little um
Like the
slow at
lines are
times.
really heavy on the outline of the characters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
It looks like a flash animation. You know what I'm saying? Like a
Yeah,
2D flash animation. And
although
I'm
it
a
kind
little
of looks
nervous.
like the Long Halloween animation, and that was okay. You know,
The Long Halloween was all right, animation wise.
yeah.
I think it looked actually a little worse than that one, and I know they've made good ones in the past, so I'm kind of confused on why their animation style has kind of gone,
They
or quality.
probably
I'll say
they,
quality. Why it's
they
gone
probably went
backwards.
cheap, to be honest with you.
Probably.
Um, and there might be some AI being done. Uh,
I don't know if AI can really do what that type of stuff.
Fair enough. I think AI is going to be infiltrating our stuff, and we're not even going to know when it's there at a certain point.
I think the opposite. I think people just like to claim AI is everything. Like some of these actors for the contract negotiations and stuff, even after they made the deal, were saying stuff about like AI, and what they really meant was like digital doubles, which is not AI. It was just like scanned doubles of people. And the same thing with like, I saw somebody share a picture or a video of a Disney Channel movie that had CGI people in the crowds, and people were just like, AI is taking over. I'm like, that's not
No,
AI,
that's
it's
not AI.
CGI.
That's CGI. Yep.
It's like almost become this blanket term for anything.
Did you see the
Annoys me.
controversy that Disney like had like a new? So there's like this famous Thanksgiving Disney picture, like a
Yes.
painting, and then they did like a version of it, and people were claiming AI. And it was
You
like a
can't even
whole.
prove it's AI at all. People point out like, oh, that
Yep.
fork looks weird. It's like it looks weird in the original painting. I
Like I
mean,
don't know why the original painting looks that weird.
right,
It's.
but it
I don't know what
does.
that utensil is,
I
but
don't know either. I think it's supposed to be like the large
carving.
2-prong thing. I don't know.
I think it's probably a turkey carving thing, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
But or something that maybe is not in use anymore because it's an old painting. But and people are like, it looks so lifeless. I was like, no, it really doesn't.
I know, and I think what also threw people off there is that they used like the characters were instead like the characters from like how they look in the parks where they have like the
Hmm.
suits. So people are like, why do their eyes look so weird? I'm like, that's how it looks in the parks. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah,
Yeah,
everybody is just claiming anything is done by AI now, and it's frustrating because it's just I don't understand. Yeah, and some people that actually work in the stuff say, hey, it may be AI, but we actually need that. We actually hire more people when we're working on the AI stuff because they have to like redo stuff or touch it up and stuff. So it is very it is what it is. I don't know what else to say about it. But I just feel like it is the current almost like bogeyman that people are using on stuff, and it doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
All right. Well, anything else before we head out? Did we miss
I
anything?
kind of think we got all the news. It was a good bit to talk about, but I think we did a short, sweet. 48 minutes here. Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Married Little Batman drops December 8th. So our next episode is going to
Okay.
be recapping Merry Little Batman, giving our thoughts on that. I
Two
know
days after final exam.
Chris is very excited for this one.
I've
He
never been more
is
excited in my
never
life.
been more excited in his life to
You know,
watch this movie.
the second I saw Damien with a paper bag, Batman cowl, I said, you know what, this is my movie. The Joker looks like the thing you would see on like a freaking 1920s cartoon for like a butter commercial.
Looks better than Heath Ledger's Joker, I'll tell you that much.
Oh God. No, 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 no. Just the aesthetics of this movie are draining my soul, but we will cover it, and I won't be too much of a grump. I might even like it. I mean, the trailer had some funniness to it.
Yeah.
I can see the humor. I really liked the donuts and your beard thing. That was
Hmm,
funny.
hmm.
Um, that was the go-to thing. Like, as long as I like Alfred, I tend to like the project. Like, I'm a big Alfred guy. Like, I gotta like the Alfred. So that helps. But yes, it's my most anticipated project. It's just I just want to get it here done.
Yeah. So that is what we will be talking about our next episode, which will be probably the week after that comes out.
All
So
right, and then we got Aquaman right around the corner.
and then our next
Aquaman,
episode after that will probably be Aquaman
and
because
I'll
well
probably
off
see that the
Christmas.
23rd. Like, I'll
Yeah,
probably
so
see that opening.
Probably
I'm,
right after. Yeah, we'll probably record something after the holidays, but building up the New Year's, and we'll
I know my
try to
mom
record.
wants to see that because she loves the first Aquaman movie. So do I. I really enjoy it. I actually remember leaving the theater. We went to see Aquaman with me and my mom, and she turned to me and she's like, "That was really good." I was like, "Yeah, it really was." Like I had a lot of fun with it. It's a comfort movie. We could put the DCU to bed. You know, get its blanket, get the pillows,
I
put
wouldn't
it
even
to
say to
bed.
bed. We're burying it 6 feet under what we're doing.
Jordan's like 6 feet is not enough. 12 feet under,
That's what we're
18 feet
doing with the
under,
DCU right now.
24 feet under.
I did get Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods on Blu-ray for
Yeah,
$10 during Black Friday. So
there you go. That's
congrats to
good.
me.
I didn't do. I was about to say I didn't do any Black Friday, but I did superherostuff.com. They're not a
Oh, that's right.
sponsor, but they're great. I got the Thomas Wayne Batman shirt. Yeah, I'm so excited about that. Like, dude, and it came with like a free gift. So I got a Spider-Man keychain coming. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. So next, later this week, we're gonna be recording our X-Men Mutant Draft over on To the Infinity Saga and Beyond, where we're going to have Ron join us, and Ron,
hmm
Chris, and I are going to draft a team of mutants that we think would be the starting MCU lineup of the X-Men. So we're each,
Ron is on the clock.
yeah, he is the first pick. We are going to draft that each. Each of us is going to
Huh?
draft a team, and then we're going to kind of give our reasons on why we think this can work with the MCU, stuff
Mhm.
like that. At
The
another
the hard
point, we'll
the hard
draft
part about
like
oh, sorry.
a favorite team, of
Yeah,
like just random
yeah.
mutants.
The hard part about the drafting the MCU is you have to have the balance in there. You have to have, and then Ron's gonna get guys that you're gonna be like, shit, that would be perfect, and you're gonna get guys like, shit, that'd be perfect. So you got to find the different balance in there with the characters.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll find out, uh, you know, the best way to do this, I guess. But we're gonna do a snake style draft.
Yeah,
Three of us.
Ron is
And
on the
Ron has
clock.
the first pick, so you're thinking it's probably gonna be Wolverine or somebody else. He's debating that. And we'll
You
see.
know,
I'm second, right? So I got
yeah,
the.
I'm calling it. It's not gonna be Wolverine. I'm
Yeah, I don't
calling
think
it.
so either. Which
I
means if it
think
falls to me, I might have to pick Wolverine.
like so here's the thing, you're gonna have to. So then I'm like, if so here's the thing, if he doesn't pick Wolverine, I'm like, shit. Because then you're gonna pick him and then I'm gonna be like, who did Ron take? You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so I just think he's gonna throw a curveball in there because he's Mr. X-Men. Um, I think he'll throw a curveball in there. I could be wrong, but I can see it from him. I can see it from him. So
Then it's all
go
about
check that
like.
show out.
Then it's all about figuring out when you reach for a person that you think might be
I'm just
picked
gonna
next.
go cool. I'm just gonna go cool characters. Like my strategy is I'm just gonna go cool characters and not
Mhm.
have an overload of the same thing.
Right, right, right.
That's my whole strategy right now.
All right. Well, so check that out on To the Infinity Saga and Beyond. Over on The Pod Awakens, my friend Logan is watching the Clone Wars for the first time. I'm rewatching it, and we're doing weekly drops of chronological Clone Wars, where we watch in chronological order. Our second episode just dropped earlier this week. So you can check that out and follow along with us as we continue down the path of chronological Clone Wars. And then just keep your eye out also on Pod Awakens for more Star Wars content coming from us, as we might do a Attack of the Clones watch soon. We've got
Mhm.
whatever show is going to drop next year. We'll be talking about that over there as well. But yeah, so
I
that's
might
it.
need to drink alcohol for the Attack of the Clones. That's the worst of the prequels,
It is.
probably.
Yes, it is.
Like the first one, I'm not in love with. The second one, I'm just like, uh, like let's just skip the second one and go into episode 3. You know, Mustafa.
Yes. All right. Well, that wraps us up here. Have a great rest of your week. We will catch you next time when we talk Merry Little Batman. You can watch that on Prime starting December 8th.
And Chris can't wait.
Chris can't wait. He loves it.